AIM-listed Power Metal Resources is a global multi-commodity project group with 14 different commodity projects around the globe. Now, I spoke very recently with Chief Executive Paul Johnson, where we covered the latest developments along with the challenges faced by small cap mining stocks at present. Paul is back today to discuss the company's quarterly business update, which was announced early this morning. Hello again, Paul. How are you doing?
Hello, Alan. Yes, I'm fine. How are you?
Very good, thanks. So onto the summary. Now I'm going to bring this up here alongside us while we talk. So you cover an awful lot in the quarterly updates. Let's start firstly with First Class Metals. Of course, you sold the Schreiber Hemlo interests earlier in the year. Where are we with that at the moment?
Yeah, it was in September 21. We sold our interests that we acquired over 21 into First Class Metals. They were looking to do a listing in London, and that listing is impending. So we're quite excited about that. We've taken an original project stake, put it into a corporate vehicle, and First Class, the team there have done a great job to go through the listing process, and we're looking forward to them being on market. We've got circa 18.5 million shares in total in First Class. They're doing some great work in Ontario, focused on Schreiber Hemlo. They've got a drill program with a joint venture partner Palladium One underway. So they'll be coming on the market very actively with exploration ongoing.
That's really exciting, actually. I spoke with Stockbox the other week about the First Class Metals North Hemlo project joint venture with Palladium One, looking really exciting.
It is. But also, if you look at it, we had that package in our business. We got a very wide package or portfolio of projects. Now, eventually, I'm sure we'd have taken it forward. But when you put it into another vehicle with its own dedicated management team and its own independent finance, then these projects get accelerated focus, attention, and finance. And that's what effectively you're seeing with that North Hemlo project, which was part of our original portfolio, that it's getting that attention it deserves. And we hope it will get tremendous exploration success and drive the value of First Class Metals a lot higher.
Sure. Okay, on to the Botswana Canyon Resources joint venture. Of course, you sold your stake to Kavango, in which you still hold a lot of shares. And of course, that was there was a very positive, strong announcement last week from Kavango about an independent valuation, circa $8 million, I believe, on that project alone.
Yeah, well, we've taken effectively again a project stake, and we've converted it subject to the conditionality of the announcement, this being published, the transaction being included in Kavango's next prospectus. We've taken that project stake and converted it into an equity stake. Now, there's various combination elements in that deal, including 60 million Kavango shares, effectively 60 million warrants at much higher prices than the current share price today. 1% royalty, NSR royalty over the properties in the JV. And that's the essence of it. And if they do very well as a company and their share price rises, which of course we believe it will, otherwise why would we do the deal? Then at 10 pence we end up with circa, I think it's 11 million pounds, and at 20 pence a share we end up with something like 23 million pounds. So for us, we're interested in the Kavango equity story. Their projects within the joint venture, that's the Kalahari Copper Belt and the Ditau project, together with their KSZ projects, makes a compelling Botswana powerhouse. And okay, markets have been a bit tricky of late, and prices have come back. But these companies that have a real focus and dedication, as they do, find things, and their share prices do rise dramatically. And if and when that happens, we will be, greatly, how can I put it? We'll be grateful because it will dramatically increase our balance sheet. Deal-wise, I think that it was a fair deal for everyone involved. Given all the circumstances, it was a very balanced deal, and we're very happy about it.
Excellent. On to your next IPO then, of course, we have Golden Metal Resources, which owns and operates the Pilot Mountain Tungsten project. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's rare that in junior exploration you get access to a project such as Pilot Mountain. Most of the companies are searching for discoveries. Well, this project is one already. It's a large, very large tungsten deposit, perhaps the largest unknown, undeveloped tungsten deposit in the United States. Aligns very nicely with the United States Geological Survey inclusion of tungsten in their critical minerals list, published in February 22, at a time when the US is seeking homeland security of its strategic metals, and this is definitely one of them, tungsten. And it combines with a number of other projects. I like Golconda, the gold projects, which is in an area surrounded by very large gold mines, effectively, and we're looking for a big gold discovery there. So that vehicle has been going through the preparation for a listing. It's a long process, a pre-IPO process. It can take some time. It was a particularly complex one because we had to effectively eliminate some unneeded Australian subsidiary holding companies. But that's all done, and it's now in the final preparatory stages prior to the IPO financing, final regulatory approvals, and then listing on the market. So we're again very excited about that. It's a unique investment opportunity, North American resource exploration with a very big existing deposit at the heart of the business portfolio.
Excellent. On to another one now, and of course I'll be interviewing the chief executive Tristan Potters very shortly at this company, First Development Resources, of course Australia focused, particularly in the Patterson province, with 3 gold prospects there, and I believe also a very substantial uranium prospect there. Tell us about that, Paul.
Yeah, so we've tried as a business, as we are building the balance sheet with these various investments, to do it with discrete opportunities, and we were able to build in 21 this package of exploration projects focused initially in Western Australia in the Patterson region, and targeting geology that bore striking similarities to Greatland Gold's Javier discovery, which was of course a game changer, driving the company from £1 million valuation when I refinanced it in early 16 through to £1 billion valuation 5 years later in early 21. We're obviously seeking to do something similar. You know, it's if you're going after this magnetic bullseye type targets, you're looking for deep undercover, very high impact discoveries. So that's part of the business. And the second part is the CELTA project in the Northern Territory, which is focused on uranium, rare earths, lithium, and is just up the road really from Nolan's Bore, a big rare earths deposit held by Arafura, which is attracting all sorts of interest from investors and from external organizations seeking to do deals for the products they will ultimately produce. So we're very excited about the first development package. It's now full on into the preparatory stages for the planned listing, and we're working hard at that. Lots of weekly meetings and that kind of thing. And it's a very, very exciting opportunity for us. We think the market will engage very well with that, perhaps following on from the Greatland story. Perhaps because of the CELTA, opportunity in the Northern Territory. We're pushing as hard as we can to get that process done and to get that vehicle listed as soon as possible.
Excellent. Now in your announcement today, Paul, you talk about the crystallization of the value from these various IPO spin-offs into Power Metal, which of course bolsters your balance sheet. Tell us how that works and what you can see happening from this.
Well, I can see, and the aim is, of course, a very, very large balance sheet that underpins the business, enables it to do what it needs to do on a self-financed basis, ultimately, and really to enable us to drive our retained exploration projects forward aggressively without people worrying about how we're going to survive in the future. We are looking to distribute in the future to shareholders, and the concept of dividends, I know it seems a world apart from the traditional resource exploration business, but as our balance sheet grows, the ability to do distributions increases, and that's something we're setting up to be able to do, should we so choose in the future. But more importantly, from our perspective as a business, we're now seeing a shifting into the next phase. The balance sheet, we intend to grow dramatically, but our exploration projects, we now, for the first time, perhaps get to focus on a more narrow portfolio of projects for internal exploration, which is what we're doing. And in the announcement today, in the quarterly report, we put out what our priority exploration projects were and gave some information on what we're going to do with them.
Sure, of course. And in regard to that, of course, you also mentioned the growing focus on uranium in the company. We've already mentioned, of course, the CELTA project owned by First Development Resources. But of course, yesterday you announced the acquisition of a further series of packages at the Athabasca uranium project in Canada. Can you tell us more about the Uranium Drive?
Yeah, sure. We built the first Athabasca interest back in September last year, and we did it predominantly, well, almost entirely with staking. And that's where you go and lay your own license claims down. Basically, you don't acquire them from anybody. Very quickly, around the time we were staking, all available ground was snapped up. There was a big rush, a uranium rush, and an Athabasca rush last year. We ended up with 450 square kilometers. We saw a package that was available to acquire, which is what we announced yesterday, and we increased our number of properties from 7 to 10, increased our square kilometer ground footprint from 450 to 721, and we are looking at increasing that further. We see the Athabasca as a major focus for uranium exploration going forward. And in uranium bull runs, the valuations of uranium companies can be quite startling and can increase quite dramatically. So for us as a commodity, it's a great one to invest in. We have uranium expertise within the team, a number of people that we work with, and specifically Jack Dan, who's been working with us for 6 months, focused on the right type of uranium knowledge and capability, and he's working away at full pace and really driving our technical review work. It's nice to have that kind of exploration package, but importantly, it's the kind of package that in the right market conditions, which we think are coming for the uranium metal, then can cause disproportionate valuation changes in the company. And that's, of course, what we want, because at the end of the day, we're here to make people money through share price increases.
Of course. So you touched then on the narrowing of focus for power metal, and of course the in-house projects you have. You also mentioned today focusing on your remaining Botswana interests, the Malopo Farms Complex project, of course, and Tati Greenstone. Well, where are those now in on the evolutionary curve?
Yeah, sure. Well, the 4 projects that we included in the priority exploration projects at the top of the quarterly report are all going to be subject to further ground exploration work in the next 2 to 3 months, or certainly the commencement of work in the next 2 to 3 months. In terms of Malopo, I think Malopo suffered to a degree because we've had such a broad project package over the last couple of years. The tremendous results that we got from the first drill program, hitting nickel up to 1.7% nickel in Malopo in the second of 3 drill holes back in late 20, early 21, kind of was missed, and we didn't have the time to really fully explain to people how significant this discovery was. But now we will do. As we narrow our focus and we narrow our communications and we narrow our time and our money onto a limited number of opportunities in the existing portfolio, which we can do because we've already spent enough money on everything else, to bring it to the level that we're happy with. We can start to show people why we think that Malopo is a major opportunity for a very large-scale nickel discovery that can be company transformational. And maybe it's the next drill program that does it. And that's what we're going to do next, is a drill program, a second stage drill program, to follow up on those fabulous initial results that we got. There is a lot of interest in nickel sulfide deposits from large firms. And the potential for nickel sulfide discoveries is quite a driver of interest. So the work that we're doing is attracting attention. That project is attracting attention, and it's about time we gave it the dedication and focus it deserves.
Of course. So, Paul, that's a whole raft of stuff you've got lined up. Are there any other near-term milestones that Power Metal shareholders should be looking out for?
Yeah, I think people will see a shift in our business as we move into this new phase. We are working hard in the background on getting big crystallization events done. And we'll announce those major events as and when they happen. We'll announce other significant events across the business as and when they happen. But our focus going forward will be on the priority exploration projects. That's where you'll see the stories develop from the business, where we'll be articulating our exploration plans, the rationale behind them, the success metrics and what we're looking to achieve. And we hope major discoveries from them. But that, I suppose, will be the major drive of the business. And I suspect there's many shareholders, investors out there that would welcome that, because we, spent a large amount of time in very difficult markets over the last 3 years building a diverse portfolio. In some cases, from an incubator perspective, I think has been used before, and that's true. But we also have some potentially world-class projects within our portfolio that we're now about to more fully and more aggressively develop than perhaps we have done before.
Excellent. So a very busy second half to 2022 in prospect. Paul Johnson, once again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Alan.